Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to the channel. In my last video, I did kind of a dive into the different image formats and what seems to work best for engraving and cutting in Lightburn. And I had just a simple line art image of the mountains in a SVG file, a PNG file, and a JPEG file. And I'm going to link to that video right up here so you can go back and watch it if you haven't. But in this video, I'm going to get more into the different image processing modes and how Lightburn handles a color image and the different things you can do with it for the different effects. So let's get into Lightburn and take a look at it. All right. So these are the three images we worked with last time. This one here is an SVG, which shows up as line in line mode, and this one here is a PNG, and this is a JPEG, and they both show up as images. So we're not going to deal with those anymore. We're done with that. We looked at those last time. Let's get them out of here. What we are going to do is we're going to look at this image here, and let me bring up the color version of it. This is a sign I did and the photo I took of it. And you see it's a couple different colors. You know, you got your whites, your different shades of brown, a pink and green and all that. But when it comes into Lightburn, Lightburn automatically transforms it into a black and white image. Lightburn does not work with color. It only works with black and white and gray pixels, because being a laser, it's a monochrome medium. It's either burning or not burning. And how the laser power reacts with the substrate is what gives you different shades and colors and stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click on here, select it first, right click on it and choose Adjust Image. And I'm going to zoom into a section right here to a nice little area here, just a corner of it. Then this is the pink flower, and we got the green outline and the white door and the green and white ribbon and stuff all in here. But you see right now in the different image modes, I'm just going to start at the top and go through them, and I'm going to read directly from the Lightburn documentation what it says about each mode, because for me to try and explain it, it probably wouldn't make that much sense anyhow. So let's just go through from the top to down, and you can look. This is the original image, and this is what's happened with the different processing modes. So you can see how it's very much just dots, black and white dots. Let's zoom back out here, and let's start with threshold. What they say about threshold is a simple on-off switch if the image is dark or bright at a given location. This should only be used for images that are two-color black and white to begin with, such as an image you dithered outside of Lightburn. Don't use this mode for grayscale or color images. So for our line-out mountains, it will be perfect for that. But for this color image, not a good choice. Next we have ordered, and you see how that changed. That looks so much better already. But back to the documentation. Also called ordered dithering, this is a step above threshold for grayscale images and uses densely packed on-off dots to approximate shading, using an ordered regular grid pattern. This is okay for general use, but works best for images with large areas of solid fill where diffusion dithering can cause unwanted artifacts. Okay, so this is better, but you look down here, you see the dot pattern. You don't really want to see that in your engraving if you can avoid that. So let's go to the next one, is Atkinson. It says, Atkinson is a good in-between mode for solid color or smooth shaded images. It resembles Jarvis, which we'll get to in a minute, but preserves better detail, though it struggles to show detail in very light and dark areas. So if you look at, we have the door here, which is a white, and my print just finished. But we have the door here that's a white, and it just does not look good. It's light and it's very blotchy. As you go in, it just So moving on to dither. Now it's a dither, also called error diffusion dithering. This is the best choice for smoothly shaded images like photos. This also approximates shading with simple dots, but does so without evident patterning and tends to produce more subtle shading. So if you look at dither, the door is still kind of weird looking. As we zoom in, it just none of these modes are going to replicate the original image exactly. Now we'll move on to Stucki. And it says Stucki is a good choice for smooth shaded or photo images with slightly faster processing than Jarvis. Stucki works somewhat similar to Dither mode to produce smooth shading and likewise struggles in midtones. So here again we got the Jarvis, or I'm sorry, Stucki. And we'll just look at that and switch Jarvis. See, they're very similar. And it says Jarvis is generally the best choice for smooth shaded or photo images with slightly slower but better processing than Stucki. Jarvis works somewhat similar to Dither mode to produce smooth shading and doesn't struggle with midtones. So typically that's a pretty good usage for photo images, is what they're saying. Now Newsprint, total different world. Newsprint is a decorative pattern that imitates newsprint halftoning by generating a grid of spots that are large in darker areas. It has good tonal range but visibly patterned. Smoothest shading is achieved with higher DPI settings or SmoothieWare controllers. So you see here in the dark area, just the dots are just much bigger. The whites have small dots. If you zoom out, you definitely see the difference, but you can, right there, you can see the grid pattern showing up. And then we have Halftone, which says it's a good quality shading for high DPI images. It's similar to Newsprint, but can have variable cell size and pattern angle. So, see here, that's just the dots are, instead of being large dots, it's groups of dots together. Groups of smaller dots, seems to be. And then Sketch. Well, Sketch is useful for line drawings or handwriting as it tries to detect hard edges. Sketch engraves only at the areas where light and dark values meet at hard edges, basically using a high-pass filter. So if we zoom out fully, it's kind of a neat effect, and it has its place, but I certainly wouldn't use it for day-to-day operations. I mean, it's very specialized. And then finally we get to Grayscale. And Grayscale is the most computer intensive of any of these. It really, because it has to map every pixel and assign it a different value based on lightness and darkness. So let's read what they say. Grayscale varies power output as a percentage between min and max power, using min power for the lightest shades and max power for the darkest. With a diode laser, this can provide great shading, but is harder to get right than plain dithering. With a CO2 laser, Grayscale mode can achieve variable depth, 3D engraving, rather than shading. Images typically need to be specifically created for this use. That's for the 3D to depth map images. There you have just a quick run through of the different image modes that are available in Lightburn with a brief description read directly from the documentation. In reality, you need to experiment with your own images, because sometimes, you know, Stucki might be the best for this particular image, but you bring a different image in and Jarvis is what you need there. Or you got something that you want to be a little more realistic and you want to try something and try a Grayscale. Grayscale is difficult, but from my experience, photos of people. Everybody wants to do photos of people, but they are about the most difficult thing to get right. You know, because there's so many different tonal ranges and skin tone and things like that, and you don't have the detail that you have in a photograph because of the pixel size, and I've managed to get some acceptable results, but never in one that I did and said, wow, I really love the way that one turned out. That hasn't happened for me. That's it for this video. Give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.